After the deadly collapse of a crane onto rail tracks, Taichung Metro comes under criticism that it didn't react quickly enough. Taiwan gets ready to equip its fighter jets with some of the most advanced weapons in the world. The race heats up for the opposition Kuomintang's presidential nomination. Plus, flash mobs demand pedestrians' right to walk without fear of reckless drivers. A warm welcome to the new TaiwanPlus News. I'm Liao. The deadly collapse of a crane onto the rails of a metro train last week caused much outrage in Taiwan. Now, after reviewing images and audio of the incident, city councilors have criticized the train company for not reacting sooner to the emergency. Louise Watt reports.
This is the image that stunned many across Taiwan. A crane fell 31 floors onto metro tracks just before a train ran into the wreckage. One passenger was killed and 10 others injured. Taichung City Council asked the company that runs the MRT in the central Taiwan city for video and audio transcripts from its operations control center. They show that within 7 seconds of the crane boom striking the MRT's noise-reducing barriers, 16 alerts were triggered. But staff only checked if the power had tripped and were not aware that something had fallen onto the tracks.
行控中心的人员自始至终都认为是台电的跳电，完全没有意识到是轨道有异物的入侵。我觉得这样的应变实在是太荒唐离谱了，完全搞不清楚到底事故发生在哪里。
41 seconds after the crane hit the sound barriers, the metro crash happened. Only 2 years old, the Taichung Metro carries tens of thousands of passengers a day. City councillors say there was a lack of training and vigilance among staff in the control room. The metro company defended its response. But the company says it will train staff to assess whether power anomaly alerts might be caused by objects on the track. It also says it will make sure that at least 4 of the 6 people on duty are present at all times. 3 were on lunch break when the incident happened. The Taichung city government has accepted the resignation of the acting chair of Taichung MRT. Prosecutors are still investigating the construction company whose crane fell onto the tracks on suspicion of negligent homicide and public safety offences. Members of Taiwan's supervisory branch of government, the Control Yuan, are also planning to investigate whether the metro operator or government regulators played any role in the incident. Klein Wong and Louise Watt for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's military says it's completed inspection of new missiles for the country's fleet of F-16V fighter jets. Jaime Okan has this update.
This is a Sidewinder missile. Built to be fired from warplanes at other aircraft, it's one of the most advanced weapons of its kind. Taiwan recently purchased 140 of these missiles from the U.S. as part of an effort to boost the capabilities of its new fleet of F-16V fighter jets. The military says the weapons have completed inspection and are now ready to be deployed. The upgrade is just one way Taiwan is strengthening its defenses amid an increase in Chinese warplanes operating around the country. China has been sending out more aircraft and warships around Taiwan because it sees the country as part of its territory. Lawmakers from the ruling Democratic Progressive Party, or DPP, say that these missiles enhance Taiwan's ability to defend its airspace.
基本上制空权在台湾目前来讲，我们也有相当的信心。台湾是全世界飞弹密度第2高的国家。
Given the growing threat from China, Taiwan has moves to boost defense spending in recent years, putting forward billions of dollars. The Sidewinder missiles, worth more than $400,000 each, will be a crucial part of the country's ability to protect its skies. John Su and Jaime Okan for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's military is conducting tabletop war games simulating how it would defend against a Chinese invasion. This is the first phase of Taiwan's largest war games, the Hanguang exercises. The second phase, featuring live fire drills, will be held in July. The tabletop games are designed to test Taiwan's response to a variety of military threats and are modeled after U.S. war games. Hundreds of people gathered in flash mobs across Taiwan on Sunday to protest for the right of pedestrians. Organizers hope they sent a message that when it comes to traffic rules, the law is the law. Jan Van Trieste has this story.
On Sunday, protesters gathered at crosswalks like this one in cities across Taiwan. For 10 minutes, they blocked traffic, demanding the right to walk without fearing for their lives due to reckless driving. The protest sites, like this one in Tainan, are all places where pedestrians have been killed in road accidents.
在上个星期一，那9点50几分的时候，这一起事故的发生，带走了一个3岁的小女孩。
Marchers also spoke against poor infrastructure and a toleration of bad driving habits.
凹凸不平的，然后会有车子停在上面啊，然后甚至有些地方是连人行道都没有的。
如果道路的设计不好，我们道路安全的教育不好的时候，其实我们每一个人未来都有可能是加害者跟被害者。
But enforcement of traffic law hasn't changed habits. From May 1st to May 11th, the city of Kaohsiung alone issued close to 6,000 tickets for failure to yield to pedestrians. Some urban development experts say Taiwan's driving culture needs an overhaul.
特别是驾驶人要能够礼让行人这样的习惯的养成，我觉得这也是非常重要的。因为如果光靠政府执法，只是一阵子之后又松懈，大家就觉得我就可以继续。
Marchers at Sunday's events hope their actions will both raise awareness and be a starting point for a change in Taiwan's driving culture. John Su and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan is an aging society, which means a growing portion of its population is now aged 65 and older. The country now needs more caregivers to look after its older residents, but some families are still unable to get the help they need. Bing Wang explains why.
This blurred video shows a confrontation between a man and a doctor at a hospital in Taipei. The man's family member was refused the help of a migrant caregiver after she scored highly on something called the Barthel Index. The index is used to measure a person's ability to perform routine activities. A high score means someone is less dependent on others for care. In Taiwan, a person must score below 35 to apply for a migrant caregiver. This has reignited a debate about whether the test is necessary and if people should simply be able to hire migrant caregivers directly.
我是觉得不赞成啊，因为这样子的话，就会有些本国人想要从事这方面工作的人就失去了工作机会。
我觉得有需要的就是直接就可以请了，因为用巴氏量表的话很麻烦。
Advocates for Taiwan's older residents are against using the index.
你不要巴氏量表啊，你只要诊断书就好啦。事实上，诊断书你有所谓的身心障碍手册，什么样的等级的身心障碍手册，什么样的疾病，这些都可以是设定一个诊断书一个标准去做的事情。
But Taiwan's health ministry says it needs to consult with the Ministry of Labor before it can take any action.
牵涉到移工跟长照两边的一个政策的这个议题，所以其实也是需要和劳动部这边一起来去做一个审慎的演绎啦。
Taiwan faces a growing demographic challenge. The country is set to become a super age society within the next 2 years. And with the older population continuing to rise, demand for caregivers to look after them will only keep going up. Alex Chen and Bing Wang for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's main opposition party, the Kuomintang, is set to pick its presidential candidate after months of speculation. Who is most likely to be nominated? Ed Moon takes a look.
This is Terry Guo, a Taiwanese billionaire. He is hoping to earn the opposition Kuomintang, or KMT's 2024 presidential nomination. Guo founded Foxconn, the contract manufacturing giant that makes Apple's iPhones. China's president has called him an old friend. Guo says this experience can help ensure peace between Taiwan and China and is calling for cross-strait talks.
中华民国与中华人民共和国诚意地直接谈判，不需要任何其他外国势力介入。
Guo's comments come just days before the KMT chooses its candidate, following months of speculation. His main opponent is Ho Yo-i, mayor of Taiwan's most populous city. Unlike Guo, Ho has been keeping a much lower profile, but he too has started to reveal his cross-strait platform.
两岸和平、国家安全是我们 全台湾人民所最盼望的。
Who the KMT chooses will say a lot about the future of the party. Guo is the son of mainlander parents who came with the KMT government to Taiwan in 1949. His close ties to China are sure to come under scrutiny if he's nominated, but he can also point to those ties as proof that he can talk with Beijing. Ho, meanwhile, is from a local Taiwanese family and has much less experience dealing with China. Recent polling has shown the two challengers are almost neck and neck with the public, although the final decision on who the KMT chooses is down to party chair Eric Zhu. Support within the party is also split. Whoever the KMT chooses, they will face a tough three-way battle against the ruling DPP candidate and former Taipei Mayor Ko Wen-je. But the harder job might just be reuniting the party. Ricky, Sam Hui, and Ed Moon for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's vice president and presidential hopeful Liao has rejected one China as the basis for cross-strait relations. He says it will lead to Taiwan losing its sovereignty.
一旦接受九二共识，一个中国的原则，安尼咱的主权就无去安尼。这条的道路会让台湾行入更较深的陷阱，以后要回头就拢完全无机会。这是台湾上界大的悲剧。
The One China principle holds that both China and Taiwan are part of the same country. Liao made the comments at his first campaign rally in Taiwan's northern region. He also said he would improve cooperation between central and local governments if elected. Liao is chair of the ruling Democratic Progressive Party, or DPP. He is currently the only confirmed presidential candidate for Taiwan's upcoming elections in 2024. The southern city of Kaohsiung has seen an increase in interactions between people and macaques. Now, a local zoo is teaming up with a junior high school to show the public what to do when they encounter the monkeys.
This Formosan rock macaque was found on the top shelf of a supermarket in Kaohsiung in southern Taiwan. The monkeys are a common sight in some parts of the city and have been known to interact with the locals, especially if they have food. To better educate the public, Kaohsiung's Shousan Zoo is teaming up with a local junior high school to show students how to behave around the animals.
学生大部分都住在寿山附近，其实对猕猴的知识都已经不陌生。但是我们觉得到了国中，孩子应该要负起一些社会责任，所以我们就跟国家自然管理处来做合作。
The area of Shousan is a major habitat for macaques, but in recent months, there's been an increase in interactions between the monkeys and human visitors. The macaques are mainly looking for food and water, and generally don't like getting too close to people. Some citizens have called for sterilizing some of the monkeys to control their population, but conservationists say that approach could be harmful, and they say programs like the one at Shousan Junior High can help the two species coexist.
不去理解说他下山，是不是因为找不到过迁的环境，然后去做一个生态廊道，让他们可以互相交流，反而是要去结扎它的话，那如果对他们的基因多样性造成影响，其实这些都是很难去挽回的。
With the monkeys showing no sign of leaving visitors to Shousan alone, city officials are urging the public not to feed them. They say this is the best way to keep the monkeys from lingering around. Damon Lin and Jaime Okan for TaiwanPlus.
Coming up, how are Taiwanese Americans feeling from the Laguna Woods shooting 1 year ago? We'll find out after the break.
Hello and welcome to Taiwan Talks. I'm Ian Kavat.
This very aggressive form of cultural revolution-like politics in China seems to be moving forward in this modern era.
This grave injustice is happening.
I think Xi Jinping will not give up his ambition.
We need that kind of mindset to prepare for the warfare.
What implications does this have on Taiwan and the region as a whole?
Just like Ukraine right now, you need people to understand we're doing this for our own country.
Reaffirmed our support for the Taiwanese ability to make their own decisions about their own future.
It's very hard to duplicate in the short time. Taiwan still can continue being the leading position if we put efforts on R&D.
And you are riding on a wave. This is exactly the time you need to double down.
I did not realize
I am actually running to be the first Asian woman in the state senate. Our next generation, they can see Asian American is as equal and have the same platform.
Taiwan Talks provides a platform for the voices and perspectives that are shaping our country.
Taiwan Talks, Monday to Thursday, 9 p.m. on TaiwanPlus.
For more monumental stories from Taiwan and even Tecalpeten, Guatemala, please download the TaiwanPlus app.
At a time when the world feels more divided, a platform for diverse voices to come together. I'm Divi Gopalan. Join the dots. Be part of the conversation. Connected where opinions matter.
Welcome back. You're watching TaiwanPlus News. Thailand's general elections saw an overwhelming rejection of military-linked rule. The Progressive Move Forward Party defied expectations and beat out the largest opposition party, Pheu Thai, for most seats won. Pheu Thai has accepted defeat and says it's ready to back Move Forward. Joyce Tsung explains what's next for Thailand.
As election results came in on Sunday night, the message became clear. The Thai people have had enough of pro-military rule. With 99% of the ballots from the country's general elections counted, the two biggest opposition parties have won the most parliamentary seats by far. Voters young and old turned out in huge numbers across the 95,000 polling stations. According to the country's election committee, close to 40 million Thais came out to cast their ballots, a voter turnout of over 75%. The results are a major blow for the incumbent Prime Minister, Prayut Chan-o-cha, the former army general who seized power in a 2014 coup. He was aiming for a third term under a new party. But the election results show that the Thai public are unconvinced another term of his premiership would differ from the past 9 years. Chan-o-cha's party came out in 5th place, winning just over 20 seats out of 500. On Sunday night, the Prime Minister made an early exit from his party headquarters, opting not to address the public.
You know, people want to try something new. And I think the young came of age under the military rule of General Prayut Chan-o-cha, the incumbent. And obviously they're not happy. This is a clear message, whether people voted for Pheu Thai or Move Forward.
The largest opposition group going into the race was the red-colored Pheu Thai Party. An established populist group, Pheu Thai boasts a political dynasty at its head. Paetongtarn Shinawat, the party's choice for prime minister, comes from the billionaire Shinawat family, which includes 2 former prime ministers, both of whom were ousted from power and now live in self-imposed exile. Though Pheu Thai snatched up a large share of seats, it was far from the landslide they were predicting. The night's biggest winners were the orange-clad Progressive Move Forward Party, which vastly outperformed expectations. The party has been campaigning with bold pledges to restrict the power of Thailand's military and even the country's all-powerful monarchy, messages which have resonated with younger Thais.
I feel very excited. How I feel is I feel I have some hope.
Move Forward and Pheu Thai are virtually neck and neck for the number of seats won, with the latter's failure to secure a bigger win suggesting that many Thais want a completely new direction in national politics. But despite the strong showing from opposition parties, a lot of uncertainty still lies ahead. This election's outcome determines the distribution of 500 parliamentary seats. These MPs will go on to jointly choose the next prime minister with a 250-member Senate appointed by Chan-o-cha's government, who usually support pro-military parties. The winning premier must secure 376 votes, which could be tough for either Move Forward or Pheu Thai to achieve on their own.
This is not a normal fair election. The pro-military parties already have 1/3 of the vote for the next prime minister in its pocket due to the way they design the constitution. There is no guarantee that the opposition parties, the two main parties, winning tonight will mean they will be able to form the government. So it's still a cliffhanger at this moment.
Though the people have voiced their support for anti-military opposition parties, it will still be an uphill battle for Move Forward and Pheu Thai to form the next government. But with the new future for Thailand on the line, the different parties will be feeling an urgency to come together and find a way out of this political impasse. Howard Zhang, Callum Stewart, and Joyce Zinn for TaiwanPlus.
Turkey's presidential election is headed to a runoff after no candidate secured more than half the vote on Sunday. Neither incumbent President Recep Tayyip Erdogan or his main opponent Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu met the 50% threshold to win outright. But Erdogan was ahead by around 5 points with 90% of votes counted. Erdogan has led Turkey for more than 20 years. He has helped turn the country into a global player, but his crackdown on opponents following an attempted coup in 2016 has alarmed rights groups. He was also criticized for his government's slow response to two major earthquakes that killed thousands of people in February. Kılıçdaroğlu, a former bureaucrat, says he will work to revive Turkey's democracy and repair its economy if elected. More than 750 people are dead and thousands wounded as the conflict in Sudan hits the 1-month mark. Close to 1 million people have been displaced by continued fighting between Sudan's army and the paramilitary group Rapid Support Forces. Aid groups are working to support civilians fleeing to nearby countries before the rainy season begins, but frequent food and medicine shortages and looting could complicate their efforts. Almost 90% of refugees are women and children. Before the current crisis, Sudan already relied heavily on humanitarian aid. There is concern that if the conflict continues, millions more people could start to have trouble feeding themselves and their families. At least 3 people have died in Myanmar after Cyclone Maka made landfall on Sunday. The United Nations expects more than 2 million people will be affected as the storm brings 200-kilometer-per-hour winds and flooding. At least 100,000 people have been evacuated in Rakhine State, where around 6 million people are already in need of humanitarian aid. Much of that area is low-lying and vulnerable to floods. 15 years ago, a storm surge caused by Cyclone Nargis killed over 138,000 people in Myanmar. It's been 1 year since the shooting in the Geneva Presbyterian Church in Laguna Woods. The hate crime sent shockwaves across the Taiwanese American community. TaiwanPlus reporter Bing Wang finds out how people are dealing with the tragedy 1 year later.
The community still in mourning. The Geneva Presbyterian Church in Laguna Woods, California, marks 1 year since a gunman fired at a congregation during Sunday service, killing 1 person and injuring 5 others. Most in this community are senior Taiwanese Americans.
I think they still have some shadow in their mind, in their, I don't know, some shadow still inside the community.
Churches like this one are a sacred place for immigrant Taiwanese in the U.S., but another immigrant drove 400 kilometers to turn it into a crime scene. 68-year-old gunman Taiwan-born David Cho has been indicted on nearly 100 federal charges, including murder, illegal possession of weapons, and hate crimes. In a manifesto called Diary of an Independence-Slaying Angel, Cho wrote that he was in favor of Taiwan unifying under Chinese control, and that he hated Taiwanese people who wanted independence. Cho considers himself Chinese, and claims he was bullied growing up in Taiwan because his parents came from China, along with 2 million other migrants after the Chinese Civil War in 1949. The new arrivals held top positions in Taiwan's authoritarian government and the armed forces. This caused deep-seated animosity between the immigrants and local Taiwanese.
You know how dictators work is they pit groups against each other so that they don't unify to fight against them.
Though that distinction is no longer pronounced within Taiwan, it's still prevalent in the diaspora.
The resentment is still there because it's harder for diaspora people to change with how Taiwan changes, because Taiwan keeps on moving, but when you leave Taiwan, you only remember what Taiwan was when you left.
1 year later, this Presbyterian church in California is coming to terms with the hate inflicted upon its immigrant community that's rooted in lingering wounds 10,000 kilometers away in Taiwan. Liang Lian and Bing Wang for TaiwanPlus.
A green sea turtle was spotted dead inside an abandoned fishing net off the coast of Taiwan's outlying Penghu County. The sighting happened in Penghu's Coral Reef Conservation Area. The county government dispatched divers to remove the fishing net. They warned local fishermen to not abandon their nets and to report any lost ones to the authorities. K-pop superstar Rio Wook was in Taipei over the weekend.
大家好，我是立旭。
Rio Wook is a member of the Korean band Super Junior. Hundreds of fans gathered outside Hwasan Creative Park just to get a glimpse of the singer. The venue could only accommodate 200 people, but 7,000 fans registered to join the lucky draw. Rio Wook performed Sorry Sorry, a Super Junior classic, at an event held to promote tourism in South Korea. Korea's first quarter 2023 tourist numbers stands at just 40% of pre-pandemic levels. The Korea Tourism Organization is focusing on Taiwan as the country is one of Korea's top 3 sources of tourists. Thank you for watching the new Taiwan Plus News. We hope you enjoyed it. Remember to download the Taiwan Plus app for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally today, we leave you with images of people walking their dogs through the streets of Chile's capital of Santiago to raise awareness of responsible dog ownership. I'm Liao. Take care and see you next time.